Yeah, first want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Salutations to the Akim, teach word of spirit and truth, and blessings to the elect. And the one-third of Israelites scattered worldwide, pray to be saved. I'll come with another lesson because the Lord has been busy in West Africa in particular. You know, everything that goes on in the world, the Lord gave us instructions, man. Alright, Luke 21 verse 36. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass. Alright, and to stand before the Son of Man. So it says, watch ye therefore and pray always. So watching is you know, watching the news, especially the alternative news, you know, Daniel 12:4, knowledge shall increase in the last days, and it's increasing in the continent of Africa, and we know that many Israelites live in the continent of West Africa, and there's been a coup just recently, man, in Gabon, and a famous Israelite that's from Gabon is that demon Samuel L. Jackson, man. There was a program about him, you know, retracing his roots, and he went back to Gabon. So some of the people in the Gabon are Israelites, man. But this western part of Africa, as you see here, coups on the rise in West Africa. So we have to watch as well as pray, man, because these are prophecies that are coming to pass. Now, there's this video that I saw, and I'll put the link in the description boxes again. And this is about the one in Gabon. And this is typical of the leaders. Now, some of these people are Israelites in these countries, and some of them are Hamites, you know. But if you look at Gabon, if you look at the whole of the slave coast, let's try and see. I've got one here. Look at the, yeah, if you look at here, if you look at the slave coast, you know, Angola's there, Gabon is around about here, you see, and that's the main place where Israelites were taken from. So many people in Gabon are Israelites, man. Okay, now let's watch this clip, and I'll put the link in the description box. Okay, because the Lord is moving things. Alright.
Because this is normal when it comes to Africa society. Many African leaders today and their close political associates, the only thing they know is to loot for their self and unborn generation. They do not really think about the reason why they were elected. They don't think about the future of the country. They just want to lose. In fact, what?
And this is the president of Gabon. A few years ago, the Lord struck him down with a stroke, man. I think he was in Saudi Arabia, one of the Arab countries, on a visit, you know, because they produce major oil. And the people are living in abject poverty, you know.
One of those backbones, one of those things they look forward to when running for an election is to amass this level of wealth and power to be able to oppress their brothers and sisters, their citizens. That's the reason why, that is the motivation behind the black African leader. That's the motivation behind them. It's quite unfortunate, but it's normal. After the coup in Gabon, revolutionaries uncovered suitcases and bags in the outhead president family home, filled with bundles of banknotes, be it dollars, pounds.
Dial pad is where work comes together. It gives us one
all that money, man.
Workspace for team.
Euro and CFA, official Gabon currency. Bags of it. So this is normal when it comes to African leaders, most especially the black nations.
Yeah, man. And unfortunately, that is normal. Unfortunately, and that's in the scriptures. I mean, look how wicked uh, this. I mean, this is the reason why they ousted this guy. You know, and before him, he had a father, and his father was in cozy with the West. He's got his a woman there. He's quite younger than him, and he's got a son. And look at all the money, and he was begging, saying, "Please make noise, make noise." They locked him in his palace, man. All right. See, the Lord is moving things in Africa because the 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 end time prophecies is war, man. All right. We know that World War III is gonna happen, but at the end of the day, you have to have a build up towards that. Okay.
It's quite unfortunate. Not just that, guys. Gabon Senate President was arrested, caught, in attempt to flee the country with millions of Gabon local currency and millions in other currency like euro, dollar, and pounds. Just check out the video, guys. It's quite unfortunate.
Look at that, man.
That is the main backward thinking of most African leaders. It's quite unfortunate, guys.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Oh, you niggas are so wicked. It's unbelievable. Isaiah 9 and 6. For the leaders of this people cause them to err. You have to lead by example. Stealing and having money, and you're a politician while people are broke, starving. That's why over there in Ghana, they had a disaster, and the local people don't see any government help or whatever. And when the disaster came, the government man came around with bag of rices, to help the people. All right, and then the people threw it back in his face. See, your leaders cause these people to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. That's the reason why those nations over there, those countries are in chaos because their leaders, and it's not that easy as well because I mean you could say well they stop being puppets for the West, but you have to understand the West has got an arsenal, and they've got nuclear weapons, they've got intelligence, they've got mercenaries. Remember this devil's blessing, ESAU'S blessing was the sword. So in order for you to have sovereignty in those countries, you need to have a damn good army. Okay? Now let's look at the same scripture and look at the word in Hebrew, Isaiah 9 and 6, when it says what does that do?
Strong's H8582. Ta'ah. Ta'ah.
Taha. That's Hebrew. That means to err, to wander, to go astray. That's right, man. That's why when he was ousted, everyone was cheering. All right, to stagger, to be intoxicated. Yeah, because when your leaders are so wicked and corrupt, right, and just come around every time there's an election and rounds people up and beats the crap out of them, security forces, this, that, and the other, people look at the leadership and say, well, you know what, I have to make money any way I can possible. And that entices them to sin, man. All right? See? Of intoxication. Of sin. Ethically. See? Wandering of mind. All right? Made to wander about and made to stagger. Drunken. To led astray. I mean, it's incredible, man. I mean, look at the wealth that this piece of shit had. But the Lord got rid of this a clown, man. And good, man. All right. The Lord got rid of him, man. All right. This is Daniel 2 and 20. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of Yahweh forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. That's right. He's in charge of who's in, who's out, etc. Well, even go back to the Middle Ages, all those like William the Conqueror, and they were all Israelites, all so-called black men. Oh, William the Conqueror raped, robbed, and murdered his way all the way up up and down England, and in the end, he had a death that was horrible. He had some a body ailment, and he died in a church, and his body was stinking, man. And everyone took all his jewelry and everything naked. See, because the Lord is in charge of who's in power, who isn't. All right, Daniel 2:21. He changeth the times and the season. He removeth kings, and your modern day kings now is your prime ministers and presidents, and setteth up kings. All right. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge unto them that know understanding. And how you gonna get knowledge and understanding with wicked leaders like that? That's why the only knowledge, understanding, and truth that will save you is this truth, man. I'm telling you, man. Because all these leaders, they come and they go, man. Alright? Daniel 2:22. He revealeth the deep secrets. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. Alright? So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, really, if you look at it prophecy-wise, they've got rid of this clown. But at the end of the day, alright, we know the prophecies are things are not going to get better, they're going to get a lot worse. And they're only going to get peace when Yahushua comes back, man. Alright, that's why one of his titles is Prince of Peace. And again, this what's it called? This coup, the guy that's taken over is a member of his family. So who knows? But the Lord is in charge of all of this, man. That's the main thing to carry away from this, man. Now there's a change in the air as well, because these people are, as I said, most of these people in these countries that have had these coups, like Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea. Alright, a lot of these people are Israelites, man. Alright, a lot of them are Israelites from that slave coast. Okay, for example, I'm from Sierra Leone. Alright, you see there, Sierra Leone. And Sierra Leone is predominantly Israelites, man. Hard-headed as well, man. Okay, very hard-headed. But there's a change in the air. Okay, because we've had a couple of coups, and we've had leaders that have kicked out the West, and that's and that's prophecy, man.
Have ever predicted that the coup in Mali in 2020 would spark a movement of coups across Africa, breed anti-French sentiments, and raise African leaders who refuse to dance to their tune and boldly tell them no?
That's it.
Obviously not, because if they had, they would have put a lot more pressure on Mali to quickly restore democracy, as they are attempting to do in Niger. But they couldn't predict it, and this led to the rise of two young African leaders who think differently. They are anti-imperialist and anti-neocolonialist. They laugh in the face of sanctions, and they do not hesitate to tell the West to mind their business and leave since they have overstayed their presence. We present to you the two African leaders who are nightmares of the West, Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and Assimi Goïta of Mali. Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. President Ibrahim Traoré became the youngest president in the world at age 34 when he and other junior military officers ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had also ascended to the presidency through a coup earlier in January 2022. His persona echoes the regional politics and geopolitics of another flamboyant commander, Thomas Sankara, who jolted Burkina Faso's sub-regional national security imperatives 37 years ago, challenging Paris' role and control.
Yeah, Thomas Sankara did a lot for what's it called, Burkina Faso back then, man. He came in through a coup. He told the IMF bank to get lost. He involved a lot of women to be in, especially government agencies. The poverty level was reduced radically. France wasn't able to get the minerals and the resources. I mean, he did a lot of good things, But then, what happened? You know, a sellout piece of shit who, you know, took money, assassinated him and someone very close to him. You see? That's why the Lord has to have a separation in our nation, man. Because there's people who are, they're in it for their own belly, man. They have no, what's the word, respect and empathy for their people, man. You know? Baruch 3 and 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. We're still in captivity, man. Where thou hast scattered us. And remember, our homeland is Israel, man. You know, it was in 70 AD we had to migrate into Africa and into inner West Africa. So really, if you think about it, the Hamite tribes, the real Africans, they had every right to slave us and this, that, and the other. Because it's not our land. It's this. But we've outpopulated them now, especially in the western part. You know. So you have to be in tune with what's going on in the regions, especially where Israelites are scattered, man. Alright? So we're yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for reproach and a curse, and subject to payments according to the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Yahweh our God. You know? So that's the reason why there's so much struggle and strife in that area. And Esau knows that these are the children of Israel, but there's a shift. You know, people telling the West and Esau to get lost, man. Making partnerships with Russia, which you could say, oh, that's one colonial master, you know, swapping it for another. But they're basically trying to say to themselves, look, we are determining what happens now, but really it's just the Lord. So it remains to be seen, you know, what will become of this. But it's all prophecy.
Sporting fatigues and a red beret, the 34-year-old president has emerged as someone who is clearly driven towards liberating Burkina Faso from the shackles of Western imperialism. He has promised a refoundation of the nation, an extensive modernization to combat violent extremism and corruption, and totally reform the system of government.
Welcome to Sapphire. We're not here to get you high.
Yeah, he's not here. He's not. They're not dancing to the French's tune.
Due to the growing insurgency in the country, security is foremost in his mind, and then afterward he would move to development. In line with this, Traoré has acted decisively by reorganizing the armed forces and boosting the country's military capabilities in an attempt to regain control over large swathes of the country. In line with his anti-imperialist and anti-neocolonialist ideology, a few months after he came to power, Traoré ended a military accord that allowed French troops to fight insurgents on its territory because, according to him, the country wanted to defend itself and gave them 1 month to leave the country, which they did a month later. He has also
yeah, and they were stealing resources as well, man. That was the accusation in Mali. You know, they pay these insurgents to go into these countries. All right, they pay them, Boko Haram and all these people. They unstabilize the country, and then they have a peacekeeping force, you know, to go in there. But meanwhile, they're doing that. They don't protect their population that well, and then they're stealing the resources. They're printing their money. You know, 50% of their money all of their money is printed by France. It's absolutely ridiculous. 50% of everything they have, the French take. You know, that's why in 2009 there was a coup in Madagascar. The guy that was in power back then, all right, he was ousted, man. All right, let me look that up. He was ousted by the French. Madagascar. Yeah, Madagascar. Madagascar coup. You know, he was like he looked like you know, one of these exotic islanders, you know, and it was real wickedness, man. You know, see, French nationals. No, that's not it. 2009, the 2009 one. That's it. Yeah, there was a coup d'état, and it was the next in kin, more or less, the number two in the country. All right, the number two in the country. He was basically organized a coup with France because the president basically marginalized everything and told the French, look, get lost, you know. Yeah, this was the guy. I think he was the, yeah, that's it, he was the president. And he basically, when he came in, he made English a third language. He modernized things. He took all the telecoms contracts were all French. The buses were all French. But he went to different countries like China and stuff and got all these services for 50% cheaper and stuff like that, and stopped the French contracts. And 4 years later, they organized a coup. They got people from the ghetto, and to run this guy out of office. He had to flee and go to South Africa for safety. They even came to the palace, with guns. So this is the way this devil works, man. Okay? So it remains to be seen, but these coups are very anti-West.
Well, the French media as well as the French ambassador, Luc Holliday, from the country. Since Traoré came to power, Burkina Faso has continued to distance itself from France and gotten closer to non-Western countries, including Russia. In partnering with Russia and other non-Western countries, Traoré has proved that African countries have the right as sovereign countries to partner with any country, regardless of whether the powers that be like it or not.
That's right.
Despite some detractors' claims that Traoré is a power-hungry dictator with no legitimacy or vision for his country, his words and actions show otherwise. During the Russia-Africa summit, President Traoré delivered a powerful speech that again hints at the kind of leader he is. Listening to his rousing speech, many are reminded of the prophetic words of Sankara in 1987, "Kill Sankara, and thousands of Sankara will be born." In his speech, the president called for greater sovereignty, food security, and recognition of Africa's historical contributions. He urged fellow African leaders to resist manipulation by imperialist forces, stating that we African heads of state have to stop behaving like puppets who dance every time the imperialists pull the strings.
That's right.
By the end of 2022, he continued, "My administration and I made calls for volunteers, leading to nearly 100,000 additional civilian forces enlisting."
See, see. So what happened to Thomas Sankara? All right, it's very reminiscent. I mean, this is like a parallel to that. So this is why they're getting voluntary militias, and people are actually signing up, man. Okay, and over there in Niger, they're demanding that the French ambassador leave, and they're out there day and night. See, this is a new dawn and a new day, man. The Lord is doing this.
Several hundred of these courageous individuals have already sacrificed their lives to safeguard those of their fellow countrymen. What I cannot comprehend, Traoré said, is why other African leaders, who offer no assistance, stoop so low as to label these brave men and women militias. Elsewhere, they would have been hailed as patriots.
That's right. This is Kwame Nkrumah, man. He was freedom. He was a leader in Ghana. And again, it was the British that I think assassinated him, and took him out. Okay.
Traoré also emphasized the essential need for food self-sufficiency for African nations. While he hailed Russian President Vladimir Putin's announcement of sending free food to 6 African nations following the breakdown of the Black Sea Accord, he also urged African leaders that it was a wake-up call, stating that at the next forum, we must not come here without having ensured food self-sufficiency for our peoples. In closing his speech, Traoré reiterated the powerful lines from Thomas Sankara's 1984 UN address, "The slave who is unable to assume his revolt does not deserve to be pitted."
That's right, man. That's absolutely on point.
Along with Sankara's distinctive finishing phrase, "For the land or death, we shall triumph."
You know, and there's something as an honourable death. That's why in its truth, the elect. You know, it doesn't matter how the Lord sanctions how they die. It's gonna be an honourable death, man. You know, imagine being the guy that actually shot him. You know, and you did that for your own gain at the expense of your own people. That's something to be shamed about, man. You know, they have no empathy for what their own people are going through. You know, we are yet this day in our captivity and subject to payments, man. And over there, they're for, you know, certain things, they're paying through the roof for it, man. Alright? Wicked bastards, man. Sellouts. The Lord's gonna get every one of you, man. You know? All of you sellouts, man. And it's the same in Mali, man. Over there in Mali, they've done the same. They've told the French to get out.
He has shown not just in words, but also in his actions that he had had enough of France's interference in Mali and he would no longer allow it.
That's it.
Since France decided to withdraw their troops, he decided with all confidence to terminate all the military and defense cooperation
This is the leader of Mali
with
now.
France, accusing France of flagrant attacks on its sovereignty, and ordered France to withdraw their troops without delay.
Get out.
Goita declared that this decision was in line with the demands of the Malian people. Following this, Goita also ordered the French ambassador to Mali, Joël Meyer, to quickly leave the country within 72 hours.
Beautiful.
This was because the ambassador had said that Mali's military junta, referring to Assimi Goita, which seized power last May, was out of control and illegitimate.
And of course they're going to say that because now their interests are being played with, man. See, that's how serpent tongue this devil is, man. You know, his inward thought is his houses will continue on forever. You know, he thinks that, man. He thinks that he can keep milking these nations forever. No, man. There's a time where the Lord is going to put a cease to that. You know? That's the mindset and the arrogance of this devil, man. You know? So the Lord's raising up leaders over there, and they're proper. Both of them are probably Israelites, man. Especially Ibrahim Traore, man. Most of them in that country, those countries are Muslim. Alright? Psalms 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And the continent of Africa is named after Leo Scipio Africanus. You know? It was a Roman general, man, who fought Hannibal in the Punic Wars. And he was an Israelite of the Phoenician Empire. Okay? So that's their mentality. That's their mindset. You know? But the Lord has put a stumbling block in front of them, man. Alright? There's one more video that I want to show, and it will just sicken you, man. And a couple of scriptures that I'm going to close. You know?
Dialpad's AI sales has completely transformed
and
itself.
very
AI is built right in with life
and very
coaching.
good information on the corruption. The corruption over there, man. This is what this guy's saying.
Symbolic elections. If you go to places like Sakode, Buffalo, Mango, no ballot, nobody came there in 2005. They declared elections from those places and said that Foreign Assembly had won the elections. Nobody went there, no electoral officer went into those communities, and elections were declared. In 2005, up to date, Foreign Assembly is still president of Togo, taking over from his father and probably grooming his children to come and take over from him. How do you tolerate such situation when ECOWAS is sitting down and not talking? African Union is comfortable with such situations.
Yep.
Go to Equatorial Guinea. The president has appointed his son as vice president, to which the son is the higher apparent, is the successor. The African Union is happy about that. You know the son. The son is the one that will go and Jerry or Kelly the hair, right? And be in the nightclubs, just as Umar, was it Ali Bongo, was a rock star.
Yeah, you see, that's their leaders, man. And what they do, they just give it back. They put their sons in positions of influence, and then, you know, when they're old, they pass it down, man. That's why there's going to be some major shake-up, man. Cameroon, especially this guy, man. I mean, this guy is half dead. I mean, listen to what he says about this guy.
He doesn't stay in Cameroon. He's in Switzerland. He comes to Cameroon on National Day. He comes to Cameroon on Elections Day. And when he's coming, he cannot walk.
Yeah.
They carry him. And then he will sit down with his grandchildren. Then they say, go and vote. He votes. When he finishes, they will carry him back to Switzerland while the elections are being counted.
Yeah, and that's the guy of Cameroon, man. The leader of Cameroon. He's been there for years. I think he's like the Lord has just destroyed his body. You know, he can't hear or anything like that. And he lives in Switzerland, getting the best care, while his people live in abject poverty, man. This is some wicked shit, man. You know? That's why the only hope for any Israelite in any country, especially over there in the West, is this truth, man. Alright, Baruch 2 and 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. And that name is important. Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. That name is very, very important. Alright? Ain't nothing else gonna save you. Your leaders don't give two shits about you, man. You know? And all these West African leaders, they know that they're people like Israelites and they're Masons, so they're sworn to basically squash that, man. Wow, man. That's how wicked this place is, man.
When the elections are declared, they bring him back to come and say he is sworn in as president.
Wow, man. And they're happy with, you know. I mean, that's the reason why these coups are happy. These coups are happening. That's why these coups are happening, and the people are ecstatic, man.
The future of contactless payments.
They're really like, you know.
The innovative smart ring that
but really, if they knew the scriptures, they wouldn't be happy, man. Because hell on earth is coming.
Their puppets will remain in power to their own advantage. This is the case everywhere, including Nigeria, which may look better than others. You may say, oh, these guys, you just have 8 years. You know, Obasanjo actually tried to elongate his term in office by trying to put in 10th term, but that was truncated, fine and good. But let me tell you, the same system of these politicians circulating themselves in power, and at the end of the day, they will hand over to their children, handling different economic sector. That is how complex Nigerian situation is. Very complex. You may say, oh, it is not just one person, but it is still the same people. The same people from governorship to being Senate, from Senate to being ministerial appointee or an ambassador or this, heading different parastatals or the other. And when they are done, their children are already occupying seats. Go to the National Assembly today, you have former governors' children in Federal House of Representatives. Even at the Senate, former President Yar'Adua, his son was a senator. And I think he is. Up to now. The same is applicable, so they'll keep circulating themselves. The ruling class, they call themselves. The ruling class. Whereas we are the subject class. The subject class, the poor masses, which are always being used. That is the irony of the whole thing. You don't see their children or their families carrying ballot boxes and rigging elections for them. It is still the poor masses, the suffering masses of Africa that are being used to rig election.
Yep.
That are being used as political talks. That are being used to carry ballot boxes to intimidate others from voting, just like we witnessed in Nigeria this year, especially during the presidential election.
And that's very true, you know, because in Congo, Oh my gosh, man! I saw a video a few years ago of an election time, and they had a truck full of thugs, and they had what's it called, guns, and they had money, and they went to a poor area, and they just threw money in the air, and literally people were fighting over it, etc., etc. And after a while, they started to shoot at them. It's like, what the hell is this about? I mean, it's incredible, man. So the normal populace are so desperate for money, they'll literally do anything. Don't matter. They'll kill their mother. They kill their next door neighbor, if they could. All right. Stuffed ballot boxes. You know, I've seen in Nigeria. I've seen on Nigerian TV, people meet a senator, a Nigerian senator, as a god and bow down to him on their knees, and they were with it, man. So he's right, man. You dummies, man. Oh man, you see. What can you say? Oh my gosh, Romans 16 and 18. For they that are such serve not the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach. They're not serving the Lord. They all say they're Christians, those what's it called, those big leaders, and you people that are helping them stay in power, but their own belly. They're serving their own belly, man. All right, and by good words and fair speeches they deceive the hearts of the simple. And that's really talking about your fake pastors, man. All right, and people, you wicked Israelite groups in this truth. But this can be applicable to those leaders, man. He's right, man. You know? So at the end of the day, we have to wait and see what happens with all this stuff. You know? But it's the Lord. And the Lord is, what's it called? Moving things around, man. Alright? And he's doing it. And these two guys are what? Nightmares for the West. And that's more or less prophecy, man. Alright, let's go into that. And then we're going to close. Alright? Because the weaker nations are doing their own little partnerships. Even if it's economic partnerships with China and Russia for infrastructure projects. Like China's doing it. And then they're buying weapons off them and doing deals and this, that and the other. And they're moving away from the West. And that's making them what? Stronger. Okay? And that's what's it called? Prophecy, man. Alright. Joel 3 and 5. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. And that's us, man. Alright. The children of Israel. These other nations, including you Hamites. That's why we don't, you Hamites that are over there in those lands suffering, we don't give a goddamn about you, man. And you 2/3 either. Alright. Because you worship this devil, especially over there, man. Alright? Spiritual ignorance over there is at an all-time high. But the Lord is waking the small remnant of those people up. And that's what we pray for, the elect and 1/3, man. Alright? The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians to remove them far from their border. Who are the Grecians? These Edomites, these devils, man. You know? But the devil is losing his grip, man. You know what I mean? He's losing his grip on this world because the Lord is taking it away from him, and the Lord's kingdom is coming into fruition. That's why the atmosphere is getting ready for war. All right, behold, I'll raise them out of the place whither ye sold them, and return the recompense upon your own head. That's right, man. There's consequences for actions. Once the Lord's done judging us, he gonna judge you other nations, particularly you Hamites and you Edomites, man. Joel 3 and 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. Yeah, so all those that remnant of those people in those lands that you look down upon, the French, Burkina Faso, Mali, they're gonna have you as slaves, man, and they're gonna sell you to the Sabians, who are the Hamites. All right. To a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it, man. Alright? That's the Lord's judgment for you, man. Alright? Verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And you can see that Ibrahim Traore and the other guy, Gota, they're in their war fatigue, man. They're in war mode, man. They're ready. They've got a pact together. If you attack Niger, all right, you're attacking what's it called? You're gonna attack you're at war with us as well. You know, and ECOWAS is trying to that group of ECOWAS is a 15 block group. They're just coconuts for the so-called white man, man. They're just slaves for the white man. That's all they are, man. You know, threatening their own people. All right, Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords. All right, your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. So it said, beat your plowshares into swords. Swords is what? For war, man. That's why they're oh yeah, and he's right. They said, oh yeah, he got loads of volunteers. Oh, they're militias. They're trying to defend themselves against these what's it called? All of these insurgents that were put there by the West, man. All right, you know, they're risking their lives to do that. You know, that's a noble thing, but you're calling them militias and all that stuff. See, that's the double tongue of this devil, man. All right, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. So the weaker nations are now strong. That's the reason why France can't just go in and blow them away, man. All right, yeah, they haven't done anything to Mali. They haven't done anything to Burkina Faso. They haven't done anything to Niger. And they're damn sure not going to do anything to Gabon either, man. All right, because they're weak at the moment, but remains to be seen. But ultimately, you know, the Lord is the one that controls everything, and he's your only hope, whether you're there or whether you're here, man. All right, Isaiah 43 and 11. I am the Lord, and besides me there is no savior. There's no savior but Yahweh Shai. Everything else is futile, man. And resistance to this truth is futile. Alright? Not being in this truth just represents death. That's it. Alright? So I will leave it at that. I give it all praise, glory, honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, double honors to the Apostle El's Great Millstone that will well. Salutations to the Akim, teacher, word, seer, in truth. And blessings to the elect and the 1/3 of Israelites. Scatter worldwide, peace to be saved. Stay strong, stay in the Lord. Shalom.